The mod collection this week was a lot of fun. We're actually going to start on the EU side of things. Look at it. It's a Ladybug ES335. Now, granted, 4,000's quite a bit, but what a fun one-off idea. Because when you think about a Ladybug, you think about the red, the black, and then a little bit of white. So what do we have here? We've got the red, we've got the black, but we're missing the white in a lot of spots. But speaking of spots, look over here. I like how they tried to continue the circular shape. And I suppose you could call this lazy. They just took a regular cherry-colored one and put dots over it, but I kind of like still being able to see the wood grain. But since they weren't going too crazy, they could afford to do it everywhere. And if you were curious if that whole side thing was just an unintentional side effect, nah, I mean, looking at this side, you can see all those were very intentional, but I really liked this. I was looking for the white, and for whatever reason, they decided to outline the serial number in it. But things don't slow down from here. We've got a Sapphire Sparkle within the Access custom family. Now, I'm not necessarily a gemologist. I always think more of a dark blue with sapphire, but maybe there's green sapphires. But that's a really heavy metal flake. And pairing that with the really blingy chrome knobs and Floyd Rose, take a close look at those screws. Usually Gibson's side ones are black, and that just adds a little bit more to its whole plated look. Now, unfortunately, we're missing the headstock close-up shot, but this is the best I can do with zooming. It looks like they only colored the custom emblem, left the logo alone, but then we're going to have the continuation of the finish on the back. But sure enough, it's got that finish all over, including on our Apex head carve with the Mini Grover tuners. But then they also had the Disco Vertigo. We've got the silver base coat, and then we've got a whole bunch of lines going on. You gotta be careful how close we get up to this one. It looks like primarily just a bunch of bullseyes that are overlapping, but I think that's what makes this one so fascinating is the overlapping areas, because you've got your blue, red, and yellow. However, red and blue makes more of a purple, yellow and blue makes green. All those cross sections is what adds to the whole zaniness of this one. Although, I'm not a big fan of having just 3 circles next to each other right there. But you gotta start the design from somewhere, I guess. But that is one dry fretboard, holy cow. But you wouldn't even know anything's crazy going on from looking at your headstock. They did indeed refinish the back. It's just a nice, slightly metallic red hue. That actually looks quite nice. 3,200 euros, nice. I will let the future owner decide. And to help make up for that price difference, they give you a custom shop case. Heading to the USA side of things, they did a series again. Smooth Copper. We'll start with the Firebird Platypus. For $3,000, this thing sold incredibly fast. And let's just say, I'm glad I wasn't here for launch this week because, you know, maybe, just maybe, I would have considered this, because my favorite thing about 90s Firebirds are the unique pickguards you can occasionally find, and that's exactly what we've got going on here. You've got a flame pattern underneath it. I'm not sure if that's paint or wood. I need to read the description. It actually is real wood from scrapped acoustic guitars. But now look at our headstock. I'm not sure if I love it, but at least it's unique. Because A, it's figured maple again, and we get the old-timey Gibson logo. That truss rod cover seems a bit pointier than usual. Reminds me of like the WRC headstocks. The back is just more of that metallic bronze color. Hear me out though. Split diamond inlays on this thing. Yeah, that would have been stellar, but I understand. Swapping out fretboards is a little bit more extreme than just refinishing. The next one was an ES330. It had very similar things going on as far as the same smooth finish. However, it looks like they used a tortoiseshell pickup cover, but oh, okay. I'd have to read the description, whether these are Pole Pieces mini humbuckers or actual Firebird pickups, but this model initially had the dog ear P90, so that's why we got the large surround for it. Yes, they are indeed Firebird pickups. Okay, that makes sense. The entire series has those. And then, of course, we get the same wooden pickguard, but how about the headstock? Nope, they decided to go after the pickup rings, more tortoiseshell material, and our back looking like so. In fact, I'm curious, did the same guy buy all 3 of them? As here's the special version, converted from P90 pickups to the Firebird, same figured pickguard. All of these seem to have had a really nice dark rosewood board too. But oof, really? The Firebird definitely got the most love. Poor Junior didn't even get a special truss rod cover to match the pickup rings. The Firebird was the clear winner in my eyes. But now we have a studio session in carbonated flames. Haha, funny, funny. Carbonated. Carbon fiber looking flames. That's a nice little play on words there. Gibson did a very similar design in the early 2000s, so I think maybe the mod collection was taking some inspiration from those, but they threw the Dirty Fingers pickups in there. We've got the Voodoo style knobs to match our red and black paint scheme. I was hoping to see some more carbon fiber truss rod covers or something, but hey, at least they went through the process of blacking them out, including our tuner tips, and they gave you the white Les Paul model silkscreen. And you get that sparkling burgundy back. That looks great on our little heel cut here. That was pricey for a studio, as they had a standard 60s for the same price, but to slightly lesser fanfare as Grape Slushy. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. Odds are this might actually be a mahogany top, and that's why it has the black binding. This slightly reminds me of the Haunted Mansion Les Paul. All you need to do is take some stencils and spray some wallpaper-like thing over here, and it would be a pretty cool Gothic-inspired thing. But the back continues our theme, and that appears to be a satin finish. Although, if we can believe the spec sheet, they claim it's still a maple top version. This one's pretty hot. Glamour Blush. $6,000 for a custom, but it's the right kind of 80s rock star pink. It's got a little bit more red blend in within it, and then the white plastics really do something to really help pop everything here. That is definitely going to be making a statement. Speaking of which, look at that headstock. The white truss rod cover just captures your attention. It matches your inlays quite nicely, and then you get the gold tuners. And oh man, even some fun back here. Painted backplates for good measure. Run up the neck, see yourself a giant stinger. And oh my goodness, not even a DS style serial. I like how that's yellow, but it's kind of strange how it's at such a diagonal slant. This one was kind of funny. Regular Studio and Prog Guac. It's a Les Paul Studio Dark, a Guitar Center exclusive. But two of the colors are kind of this dark green and black, and if you're looking at the edge, they basically just mixed those two together and made this one a little bit fancier. Looking at the headstock, it looks like that might be a new decal, or they just slightly sprayed green over it. Looking pretty cool. And then we've got a green neck with the black back, but remember, it's like half green. Well, maybe a quarter green. 2/10. You want to fight about it? There's also one called Sunfire Burst. I really like that color. I'd like to see it become production. It's a more predominantly red, slightly orange, but it looks like it could have a little bit of metallic to it, where this yellow comes through just a little bit on the edge, depending on your lighting situation. Or maybe it's just a flat color, I don't know. The cream plastics are pretty nice. And doesn't look too far-fetched from its full body shot. It's not a regular red back. That's a metallic reddish orange. I do enjoy that. I'd like to see that more on regular offerings. They also had Pop Blue Metallic for $2,000. It's one of them fancy studios that has the binding on the fretboard, but not the body. If you look closely, I think this does have a very, very slight border. I might be wrong on that. It could just be the color shifting because the light's hitting it here. Man, they really got their metallic paint guns out this week. I would imagine, you get it set up. It's a little bit easier not to switch in between transparent and metallic. Even our last one's not bad. Outback Orange Soft Gloss. I felt the mod collection has been stale for the past couple of months, but these past 2 weeks, I don't know if they hired some new people, let them get some new ideas in here. I like what they're producing here. So this is an orange top with I like this bear claw strike mineral streak. Now, I will say the rusting of our pull pieces looks a little bit obnoxiously orange, but I think that's by design. And they did a pretty good job aging our gold hardware to also look orangey. The black P90 covers really accentuates that finish and brings this out too. Oh wow, that really all starts to come together when you see the full shot, because they really super aged your truss rod cover there. Maybe a bit too much, like why have we got the pink going on? But it looks like they might have utilized Clusen waffle back tuners. And we have a very slight tinting to our Gibson logo's clear coat. Sure enough, called it on the waffle backs, but they even aged these. Someone was having too much fun. Like they aged all the screws and everything too. This isn't even Murphy Lab. And then, a la Randy Rhoads, they gave us these brass-looking back plates and this really rustic reddish brown on the back. Gave you the custom shop case. What I would like to see is maybe a special mod collection case get introduced, but they called it a soft gloss. So I would imagine it's somewhere between satin and gloss. But now let's check in on the Gibson demo shop. The mod collection's been letting us eat so good, but here's my highlights of all these ones. We'll start with this J45 Studio. I picked it because it's just so painfully plain. Like all the woods that they used on this are obnoxiously pale, but it has a cool ghostly vibe to it. The neck almost just doesn't match everything else. Now, could you condition that fretboard, make it look a bit better? Sure, but at the same time. That's part of the charm of this one. The standard 60s iced tea, I thought it had an interesting top. Like the back's nothing too crazy, but if you come over here and zoom in, it's kind of like an octopus body and he's got his tentacles going all over. It's a bit of a stretch, but it's unique. I like the waviness of the wood grain. You get the mineral streaks. It's a very characterful top. This one, I was unsure. Is it the particular photo angle, or are they all just this cool? This has more of a phantom burst to it. Like you can see slightly darker blue over here and then a bit more silver. This one's labeled as a custom shop top, and I would have to really agree. I mean, if we had the real ABR1 posts on there, I would fully believe it. It looks that good. This 335 figured had a very nice one-piece veneer on the top. Looks even better on the back. This lemon burst was also custom shop top. However, they modded it with the black plastics. But you get a whole lot of vertical wood grain cross-hatching with your flame and a bit of pixelations going on. Oh, and gold hardware, just in case you missed it. You don't see the 54 reissues in the demo shop every day, so I thought I'd point that one out. I didn't think they were making Ebony Burst studio sessions, so yeah, 1500 if you're interested in something like that. It reminds me a lot. I think it was a Guitar Center Traditional Pro 4 or something like that. It was very similarly colored. This one sold very quickly. I don't even think I need to tell you why. This ES Supreme had a rather unfortunate photo set. You definitely gotta watch those reflections in your photos, because this is just a light. However, somebody buying from the demo shop for the first time might think, oh, is that like all scratched up and blemished there? But it changes enough that you know it's a reflection. And then I saved my favorite for the last. Dark Purple Burst 60 Standard. What I like about this is, honestly, it's so plain. Generally, when you're ordering one of these, it's all about the figure tops. And even for my first review and demo, I was looking for the most figured one as possible. But something about this being a plain top works really well with this color scheme. But all right, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.